Welcome everyone to the second Icon Plus 365 virtual plant tour. We welcome Travis Hildor with Pathfinder Systems, who will be presenting, excuse me, the Jandris block plant in Gardner, Massachusetts, and the Acme brick and block plant in Sweetwater, Tennessee. But first, we have a few housekeeping items. We ask everyone to comply with NCMA's antitrust and anti-harassment policies. And please note this session is being recorded, and by participating in this meeting, you are agreeing to be recorded. Lastly, at the end of the tour, please stay tuned for the producer prize drawing being presented by Pathfinder. Thank you and enjoy the tour. Take it away, Travis.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to the Pathfinder Virtual Plant Tours again. I am proud to be able to present two amazing facilities and two amazing companies to you. The first of which that we are going to be spotlighting is Acme Brick and Block in Sweetwater, Tennessee. The second of which will be Jandris and Sons up in Gardner, Massachusetts. Just to give you a little background on these companies, Acme Brick and Block actually started back in 1890 as Acme Block and Tile. The Brantley family took it over in 1942, and the current owner-operator is Brantley Rivers, and he is currently fourth generation. They purchased the Sweetwater facility back in 2014, and it had been kind of run down. It had a machine from the 1950s. Actually, I apologize. It had a machine from 1969 in there and batching from the 1950s. Once they took the plant over, the first thing that they did was upgrade their batching. They did a lot of that in-house, found a silo. Very hardworking people out there to do a lot of that work. And then last year we got our Model S new depalater and TSB12 installed at their facility. When talking to Brantley and what the reasons were for the decision that they made to go with the Model S, his main 2 points were the quick mold change as well as the speed of production. This was a direct replacement for another machine, so we were able to utilize the existing foundation, the existing feed height of the batching that they had upgraded in previous years, as well as all of their existing molds. So they were able to get up and running in a very, very short amount of time, as well as increase their production basically from day one once the plant was up and running. The other items that we replaced out there, like I said, was the depalater and TSB12. They have plans to be able to expand into retaining wall systems, and they needed a much more efficient splitter to be able to keep up with the production of the machine. We have 3 cameras that are stationary, 1 that is portable. Our sales rep in the Southeast, or sales professional in the Southeast, Mark Arbit, has the portable phone right now labeled Pathfinder. The other 3 views that you're seeing, the Model S at Acme front view, that's showing you the feed drawer compression head, mold assembly, and feed height of the Model S. The other camera labeled Model S is our control panel, which I'll kind of go into depth on a little later on. And then we have our splitter and dry line conveyor. We're not currently splitting today. That's just primarily to be able to show you the speed of the machine and be able to keep some product quickly to keep up with it. On the portable camera right now, Mark's doing a very good job of walking around the back end of the machine. A few things to keep in mind that we really tried to pay attention to on the Model S was ease and cost of maintenance, trying to keep that cost of maintenance down as well as allowing you guys, the producers, to do as much work in-house as possible on that machine. So a lot of things that you'll notice as he's walking around is electrical cables routed on the exterior of the machine, hydraulic cables or hydraulic tubing on the exterior of the machine, and basically everything accessible, including, which I believe he's going to walk around to it pretty soon here, if he can hear me. There is a small conveyor, and it's kind of hard to see there. I'm sure he'll get around to it. There's a small conveyor on the back side of the feed door. There you go. He was highlighting it there. It's just that little slot coming out. That's just the level of detail that we've been able to build into and engineer into the machine. just to help your guys do clean out, do maintenance, and really be able to operate that machine as efficiently as possible and the reduced amount of clean out time that you guys have to do at the end of the day. The other items that Mark was running around and showing you in this facility is a Tiger pallet turnover, as well as what you can't see there is a pallet oiler and scraper. This equipment was ordered the end of 2019. We got it installed early 2020, has been running now for right around 8 to 9 months, and it has 350,000 cycles on the machine already. On a gray standard 8816, they're running cycles anywhere between 6.5 and 7.2, depending on the mix that's coming in, how wet it is, how dry it is, all that good stuff. From that point, Mark's also going to be showing you the new Tiger depowder that we went in. This is a double push to powder. We have 2 paddles on there to be able to index the block onto the dry line conveyor and splitter. That is important for us so that when we are positioning retaining wall to be split, that bar conveyor can pick up the product and push it into the splitter, and still be able to stage the next set of products. The bar conveyor on that splitter is run off an encoder, so we're able to perfectly position retaining wall underneath the blade every single time. And those are all set within the panel as recipes that you can save into the equipment. As you can see there, the splitter, we do have 2 separate blades on that. That's actually to give you a little bit of flexibility and ease of operation. We don't have to worry about 2 sides coming down and jamming or jarring and not getting you guys good splits. It's a nice even up and down movement. One of the things you're not seeing on that splitter as an option is an automatic or fast rotating blade change. That's usually something that we install in facilities that have a very wide range of split product. But that is an option that's available for those splitters where you can actually mount 3 to 4 different blades on those heads and really just rotate it around in order to swap over. And then of course we have our block turnover in order to make your cubes going into an existing Pico cuber at this particular location. So with that being said, I know I kind of flew through that. I will go back and touch briefly on the controls on the Model S. We're not going to be walking through the screens at this point in time just for the sake of not sharing tons of extra information on people's cycle setups and all that good stuff. But one of the things that we've been focusing on very heavily within Pathfinder and Tiger Engineering is ease of operation, as well as the ease of ability to train personnel on the equipment. So the screen is set up into really 5 different categories. You have your main manufacturing screen where you can see your cycle times, you can see your height pins, and then we run into a setup mode, we have a production mode, we have a reporting mode, and we have a maintenance mode. All of those screens are very intuitive as to how to set up the machine. We're moving everything over to position-based instead of timing-based. So it makes it really easy and intuitive for your people to understand how to set up the machine, as well as do what they can to not only create a high quality product, but increase the cycle speed of your machine. And that's really what lends itself to payback on that Model S. Not only be able to pick up where you left off as far as the quality of the material that you're producing, but as well as reduce the amount of man hours, reduce the amount of maintenance cost per block that you're putting on the front of the machine. Moving over to the view of the front of the Model S, there's a few things that I can point out as far as the mold change goes. You'll see a yellow guard on top of the compression head. That is part of Tiger's automatic mold change. Even though this isn't the same system as our TG series or PS1000 series machine where it's a fully automatic push button mold change, it's still significantly faster than many other systems out there. So really, once you want to go do a mold change, the compression head sets down into your mold bottom, and there's a screw gear there that opens up and automatically releases your compression head into the mold. Once that's done, there's 2 pins that are pulled, and the machine is able to deliver the mold out of the front of the machine, and you can then grab it, pull it out, put the new one in. And we are still using a quick height change system on that as well. The quick height change system is 2 bars on the top, 2 pins on the bottom. That adjusts the height of the compression head and the feed box in order to accomplish a quick mold change. So with that said, I would like to move on to the Jandris & Sons facility in Gardner, Massachusetts. I would encourage everybody to please contribute to the Q&A, and we will definitely get back to those questions for you down the road. While we're waiting for Kathleen to pin Jandris & Sons, I will give you guys a little bit of a background on them. Jandris actually celebrated their 100th anniversary last year. They were founded back in 1920. And actually that family started out as masons in the United States. So it's kind of a cool story. They came over here from Austria before World War I as farmers, and then got into the masonry trade and had a really hard time finding materials. And so they started basically hand stamping block. And since then, they've moved on to not only fully automatic production, as you guys are aware, but they've also expanded into grinding and polishing as a way to differentiate themselves and produce a very, very high-end product in the market. I was able to talk to the owner a while back, and one of the things that they regularly get comments on is just the high quality of their product and their customer service. So the system that you're seeing here at Jandris, they got into grinding on their own a long time ago. I want to say it was right around 20 to 30 years ago. It was a home-built machine. Jandris prides themselves on being a very self-sufficient company. They have a full machine shop in-house, and Dana's stepfather was kind of a self-taught engineer. And that's how they got into the business, was through a home-built grinder. And roughly 8 years ago, they got into the polishing business with a GMM grinder polisher. So that's actually a 2 calibrating head machine and 10 polishing head machine. They're making a high-end polished product on that. And they were doing that for a number of years, and like everybody else, started running into issues with labor, with loading machinery, with trying to keep up with the grinders and polishers that they had there. So we went with Tiger and designed a fully automatic decuber that can feed 2 lines that they have there at Jandris & Sons, both their home-built grinder as well as the GMM polisher that they purchased from us previously. What's unique about this system is they're able to bring in 2 separate cubes, one meant for the grinding line, one meant for the polishing line, and being able to feed both machines simultaneously and run product through it. Ken Diedrich is here with us as well. He is going to be on the portable camera. He's just sitting down in the chair. He's going to be available to answer any questions, and it sounds like he's looking to write us a message here. Help me. He's always loved doing these presentations. Many of you probably know Ken Diedrich worked for us for a very long time in the Southeast, and I'm sure this is his favorite thing in the world to do. Ken, can you hear me?
I can, Travis. So mask on or mask off? What do you think?
I personally like you with a mask on, but I think we can hear you better with it.
I didn't anybody. So
not at all.
If comments come in, put the mask back on. That's fine. I don't mind. I'd rather getting to it, quite frankly. So
sounds good. So
yeah.
Ken, do you want to give us some background on your perspective on your grinding and polishing plant you have there, as well as the decuber that we're using?
So I can. have to relay the story as to why. When I started with Jandris, the machine had just been installed, and the big driver for this is the inability to get people who want to load the conveyors with product and package the conveyors all by hand, feeding the ground face and the polishing machine. So it was a simple choice for Dana Morris, the owner, to put in automation. We still require people to inspect the product, but they don't have to put the product on the conveyors by hand all day, every day for 8 hours a day, which is, it's helped us with our labor situation. Yeah.
Right. Well, the way we did this, the process for developing it, basically, as Ken mentioned, you know, with the labor shortage, with issues getting people to come in here and frankly speaking, huff block for 8 hours a day, you know, we developed, or we basically came up with some of their challenges, and one of which was obviously quality of product moving in, being able to do quality control, helping to take the labor out of it. But it's very difficult because the product that goes in needs to be oriented a specific direction in order to be fed into the grinders and polishers, as well as they have some varying cube layouts. And so we needed to create a system that could not only pick up the product, but also orient it properly and bring it to the right line. So we've been able to program the machine to do that. We've worked very closely with Jandris and Sons in working with how they're packaging product to make sure this works. The head that you see in the decuber and Jandris camera is a vacuum head, which allows us to handle product that's designed to be a higher end product. As you guys are aware, if you're creating a high-end ground face or high-end polish, and I'm sure, Ken, you live this every day, that little chip corners and that nickel at 50 feet doesn't apply anymore. So you need to be able to handle those with a child's glove.
Right. Right. That's an absolute must. It has to be gentle, so we don't add to the problems. Chip lock is a cull. It's a waste. So yeah, it has to. Now I'm at a disadvantage. I have to tell you, I can't see what you're seeing, and I'm not quite sure what cameras you might be focusing on. All I can see is me and you. And so I just wanted to mention that to you. If you have any specific questions, I can go out and take a closer video if necessary. But with the plant in operation, it's difficult to hear what questions you may have.
Thanks, Ken. So just to point out a few features, I don't know if you guys can see in the product infeed conveyor at Jandris camera, which for me is in the upper right-hand corner. I don't know where it will be for you guys. But the head actually does not come all the way down to the conveyor. We have a product lifter or product dropper. So what we're actually doing is moving the head over the conveyor, and it's only coming down about halfway to the product dropper. That does a couple things for us. It actually helps with the cycle time so that we can keep up with the potential speed of the grinders and polishers. Once that vacuum head releases, it can move back to grab the next layer while that's gently dropping the product down onto the conveyors. The other thing that you might notice in that camera is these conveyors are actually all nylon coated rollers. Again, the reason for that, not going with metal, is there are some cases where you might grind two faces. You also need to really pay attention to the quality of the product coming in. So it's a nice, gentle movement for that. It limits calls. And then those are also all on clutched rollers. So we can have that conveyor running faster than what our polisher is. That keeps the product grouped together, keeps a nice, firm stream of product going through, and that's going to ultimately allow you to create a consistent look on the product that's coming out of the machine. From there, we're moving into the 2C+10 polisher, and once Ken gets out in the factory, he'll be able to walk past that for you guys, and Ken will have you do that shortly. The features of that machine is we have two calibrating heads, which have diamond tools mounted to it. Those will usually be either a 60 and 80 grit or an 80 and 120 grit, depending on the product that you're going to be running. And then we have 10 polishing heads on a moving bridge. And those polishing heads are Frankfurt stones running up to an equivalent of a 5,000 grit. And so that's how Jandris is able to get a high-end polish on their product. You guys should be able to see the finished product conveyor. It's a little dark. There's a reflective finish there. I know it's wet, and we're going to show you some dry product here in a little bit as well, so that you can see what the product looks like finished. That 12 head machine also runs on a unique belt. We're using a combination of a PVC and a rubber. Again, that's all based on keeping a high quality of product. And there it is with Mr. Diedrich showing that. You got the 2 calibrators on the front end. Those are the larger motors. And then further down in that video, you can see a moving bridge. And what that moving bridge does is it creates a really nice oscillation effect on your product. That's what's going to bring your high-end polish. This in particular is a wet system. The reason it's wet is because we're going up to that very, very fine grit tool. If you go to, if you want to do dry, you can do that, but you're really limiting yourselves on the number of heads that you're using. The machine runs off of the calibrator heads are running off of encoders for precise positioning. The polishing heads are working on a counterbalanced air system. So we actually have air pressure going up and air pressure going down, which allows our heads to float on the product and then allows you to really dial in your amp load on those motors. And that's going to tell you how much pressure you're putting on that product and dial that up and down based on the finish that you're going for, as well as for the wear of the tools. Try to optimize a good balance between those two. This machine's been installed for about 8 years. We do hot dip galvanization on the bed. We do stainless steel components everywhere we want, or the guarding there is plastic. And again, the reason for that is we're putting a high alkaline, high basic water through a system and grinding product, which can create a cement slurry. So we needed it to be very easy to clean and operate and maintain. Ken, if you can hear me, do you have any dry samples there that you can show off? And while he's getting over there, I can talk a little bit about the controls for the decuber and the grinder and polisher. Again, same idea. We're trying to go with ease of operation. And there you go. So you can see that coming out of a dryer on their back end. You can see a little bit of the shine on the product. Unfortunately, a webcam doesn't do it justice. And I got to say, I'm really looking forward to doing this in person with you guys at some point where we can bring some samples and show you. And by the way, if you are interested, we can reach out to us and we can get you some samples so that you can see the type of product that's coming out. One of the things that amazed me the first time we put in that machine over at Jandris and Sons, they've got about a 35-foot ceiling there. And after the product was dried, you could actually tell that they had fluorescent light bulbs lighting the factory up in the face of the product. Quite amazing. They also do a few different finishes. There's something that we call the weathered polish, where we can mount carbide tipped brushes to the last couple heads. And that creates a texture on your product where not only do you have the shininess of a polished product, but you also have a texture because we're pulling some of the fines and sands out. So from there, that's the brief overview. I'm looking forward to seeing what questions we might have from the group, and I'll turn it over to Kathleen to feature the rest of the machinery that we're showing off, both at Acme and Jandris. Looks like we lost Ken Diedrich, so we'll see if he joins in a little bit later.
Right, fabulous. Well, we have everything spotlighted now, and here comes Ken. Let me spotlight Ken.
There he is.
There we go. Cool. All right, and we do have some questions that came in. Would you like me to read those out loud, Travis? Happy to.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so we do have one. What method of water treatment are you employing?
At Jandris and Sons, actually, it's unique. They home built their water system. And it kind of speaks again to the type of people and the type of company they are. They pride themselves in being able to do a lot in-house. What they're using is they have two, I believe it's two indoor storage tanks. Is that correct, Ken? And one outdoor pit. So the way that works is the slurry is pumped from an in-floor sump pit into two different settling, actually to an outdoor pit that's separated. The water flows through there, solids are settled to the bottom, and then pumped to an indoor tank. Again, the first one for settling, and the second one is for your fresh recycled water. There's also a filter press there that slurry is pumped through in order to collect a lot of the solids in there before going out to the settling pit. There's a number of ways that you can do that. In addition to that, there's a number of companies out there that do different methods. You have autovac systems. Some people add flocculants in order to speed up that process if you need faster volume or greater volume. There's a lot of options out there.
Fabulous. Thank you. Next question is, what size block can the vacuum lift?
It can do pretty much anything as far as an architectural masonry goes. Ken, what's the largest block that you run there through that system? Do you know?
12-inch regulars.
Yeah. So everything down to 4-inch half to 12-inch regulars, right?
Yeah, they're right. That's all we tried so far. We haven't had any need for any larger elements at this point.
But we can custom design systems for your needs. So if you have a unique product blend, whether it be a tile or a large monolithic piece, we can customize these systems to work with your product line.
All right, perfect. Where is your product produced for the grinding?
The polishers are produced in Italy. They came from a company that specialized in marble and granite finishing, but now have been in the concrete products business for about 15 years. And they're owned by GMM, which is one of the largest bridge style manufacturers in the world.
Awesome, thank you. All right, do you start and stop the vibration after feeding the mold and before final compaction?
So that's a question for the Model S. We do, well, it's the best way to answer that. We are not using brakes on the vibrators, so we're not doing a real hard stop. We're allowing it to idle, but they definitely do spin up and slow down in between those cycles.
Great, thank you. All right, next question. Are you a producer? If so, what type of machine?
So I'm a manufacturer of equipment, and it's Tiger equipment for our concrete products manufacturing, GMM equipment for grinding and polishing, and then a number of other people that we work with for curing, shot blasting, batching. We own Mertz Batching down in Albany, Georgia. So we are a turnkey supplier of equipment.
Fabulous, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any other questions, feel free to enter those in the Q&A box on your screen. At this point, it looks like we have gone through all questions. Turning it over back to you, Travis and Ken.
Sounds good. I guess that is all I have for now, unless there are further questions. But of course, if there's anything that did not get answered during this presentation, or you think of future questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Email address is sales@pathfindersystem.com. Shoot us any questions you might have, or if there's something that you would like to focus on that we haven't, I'd be more than happy to schedule something with each of you. I think from there, we are moving on to the drawing for our prize.
Yes, thank you, Travis. That was an excellent tour and of both facilities. And we very, very much appreciate you, you guys being with us today. Now we're, as you say, we're moving on to presenting Pathfinder's prize. And Miranda, if you would spin the wheel, please. And our winner is Tom Finch.
Good deal. Congratulations, Tom. And we will reach out to NCMA to get shipping information and the best way to get that subscription out to you.
Yes, the the prize is an annual master class subscription offering 100 plus classes from the masters and the ultimate Omaha steak sampler. That sounds wonderful. Lastly, we want to just let everyone know what's coming up. We've got the Knowledge Bar starting at 2:15. We have 6 topics taking place this afternoon. So we invite you to join us for that. And we look forward to seeing you around the block later in the Icon Plus 365 program. Thanks again, Travis.
Thank you very much.